So you have $1,000 laying around, and you're looking to buy a reliable, good-looking, and most importantly, fun Japanese car for under $1,000. Well, look no further, because in this list, I have 10 of the best JDM cars for under $1,000. Coming in at number 10, which means that it is the worst of the best, I am of course talking about the Mazda 3 Hatchback. I'll keep the entry short because this vehicle really is nothing special. It's a front-wheel drive Mazda hatchback. It's practical, looks pretty good, and is pretty fun to drive if you get it with a manual transmission. Just be aware that they aren't the most reliable when they hit the high mileage mark, but regardless, it's one of the best vehicles that you can find for under $1,000. Coming up next, we have the Scion Xb. A lot of people hate this car, and a lot of people love this car. Personally, I think it looks great. It's not the most powerful, but they are still known to be really fun to drive. They're extremely practical, and they're extremely reliable. What more could you want from this small, reliable, good-looking hatchback with a lot of aftermarket support? It's simply perfect. But hey, maybe you want something that's a little more cool, and for that, why don't I recommend the 7th gen Nissan Maxima. This car is available with a 3.5 liter V6, the same V6 available in the Nissan 350Z, which is a sports car. The Maxima not only has great performance, great reliability, and great looks, but it's also extremely cheap and has tons of aftermarket support if you're looking to modify it. They do have quite a few luxury features for being just a Nissan, but nonetheless, they're great vehicles and I highly recommend one. Sticking with sedans for a minute, I also highly recommend the Mitsubishi Lancer 10. I love this vehicle. It's not a Lancer Evolution. Hey, it's not even a Rally Art. It's probably a base model, which means it's going to be fairly slow, but it still has a manual transmission, and they handle pretty good. They look absolutely amazing and have tons of aftermarket support. They're generally just good vehicles, whether you're commuting or you want to build power with it or build it into a show car, stance car, whatever you want to do with it. It's a great vehicle, and I highly recommend it. Now that we're around halfway through the video, I want to get into some vehicles that are really fun to drive. Starting things off, we have the 7th gen Accord with a manual transmission. This big Honda sedan is absolutely amazing. Tons of aftermarket support and amazing Honda reliability makes it a great daily driver, and the manual transmission makes it fun to drive. There's nothing about this vehicle that is bad. Everything about it is absolutely amazing. It's a great commuter, great tuner, great show car. You can do anything to it, and you can find them for as low as $800 in fairly good condition. I can't go any farther without mentioning the 6th generation Honda Civic. I'm not talking about the SI because you cannot find one of them for under $1, $2, $3, even $4,000 or $5,000 in this crazy market, but you can find a base model with a manual transmission available as a coupe sedan or a hatchback. This fun, reliable commuter, tuner, stance car, whatever you want to do to it, is an amazing vehicle. This lightweight car, for being front-wheel drive, is known to handle really good and be very fun to drive. So whether you want to go full sports car and get the coupe, maybe you want more of a touring vehicle, get the sedan, or how about practicality? Get a hatchback. It's whatever you want to get. There's tons of options available with different engines, different transmissions, and different body styles. This is one of the most versatile vehicles that you can find for under $1,000. Next up, we have one of the most underrated tuner cars ever built, the Acura Tsx. This luxury Honda Accord styled Acura comes with Honda's famous K24 A2 engine, which is an amazing tuning platform. It's a 2.4 liter inline four, making 160 horsepower paired to either a 5-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual transmission, sending the power to the front wheels. This car not only looks great, has 4 doors for added practicality and tons of aftermarket support for great modding ability, but it's just a generally good vehicle. Whether you're looking to commute to work or modify it, you can make crazy amounts of horsepower. I'm talking 500, 600, 700 horsepower out of this fairly small vehicle. And even stock, they're quite fun to drive because they barely weigh anything like most Hondas, and they come with decent horsepower. Nonetheless, it's a great vehicle whether you're looking for a first car, a project car, a commuter, and most importantly, you can find one of these amazing Japanese cars for under $1,000. Now, for the rest of this list, with the exception of 2 vehicles, I'm only going to be talking about sports cars. Coming up next is the 7th generation Toyota Celica GT. Now, it's not quick, and it's not particularly cool looking. I do think it looks decent, but honestly, there's better looking vehicles out there. But for $1,000, you can't have terribly high standards. And this vehicle comes with either a 5-speed auto or a 6-speed manual, and a small but still fairly powerful 1.6 liter inline 4. And it doesn't make insane power, and it sends that power to the front wheels, but it still is known to handle good. It's fairly lightweight, has tons of aftermarket support, and you can make some power with them, but only some. Their engines aren't the best for building power, and the aftermarket support as far as the engine goes simply isn't there. But nonetheless, it is a great vehicle. And next up on these sports cars, we have the 3rd generation Mitsubishi Eclipse. Probably a base model, probably an automatic transmission, but in my opinion, they look really, really good. They're quite reliable, and they're quite fun to drive. So if you want a lot of car for a little bit of money, look no further than the 3rd generation Mitsubishi Eclipse. I don't have a lot to say about it because in reality, it is just a front-wheel drive sports car, and they're not particularly quick, they're not particularly cool. Nobody really wants them, nobody really cares about them, and nobody even knows that they exist. Coming in at the number 2 spot, we have a car that none of us actually want, per se, but I think that it is actually really underrated as far as tuners go, or as far as just fun car guy vehicles go. It's any Toyota Corolla that you can get with a manual transmission. And I know, you're probably thinking, well, it's a Corolla, so it's boring. Well, I mean, you aren't wrong. I'm not going to say you're wrong for thinking that, because you're probably right, but that doesn't mean that they're bad vehicles. Toyota Corollas are meant to be reliable and last absolutely forever. And if I'm being honest, there's nothing more fun than driving a slow car fast. Have you ever just sat in a slow car and floored it and just seen how slow it goes, but how fast it feels and how much fun it is hearing the engine start revving? Nothing beats that feeling, and realistically, if you get a fast vehicle, I'm talking up in the 300 horsepower range, when are you going to be able to use it? Never. But if you have a slow car, you can still enjoy the feeling of flooring it and watching your RPMs go up, feeling yourself being thrown back in your seat, and most importantly, having amazing fuel economy and being very reliable, which in my opinion really beats out a lot of sports cars or vehicles for that matter on this list. Because sure, the Eclipse looks good, sure, the Celica might handle good, but the Corolla is objectively better in every other way. And sticking on the topic of Toyotas, I'm also putting this as more of an honorable mention, but any Camry that you can get with a V6, like the Corolla, they're reliable, but this time they make actually good power. They're not just slow economy cars that you can't do anything with. And in my opinion, they're really underrated as far as Japanese vehicles go, and I highly recommend getting one of them as well. But finally, ending this off, for the list of cheap JDM cars under $1,000, we have any vehicle you can get with low miles for under $1,000. I don't have much to say because it speaks for itself. So if you enjoyed the video, go down below and comment and tell me what your favorite vehicle under $1,000 is. Leave a like, and be sure to subscribe with post notifications on so you never miss an upload.